with some technical difficulties.
But excited to be here for Game 6, a really important game, which will also set the timeline for the NBA Finals, which is pretty exciting. And for me, I think the one thing to watch is the turnover battle / transition. Both these teams much better when they can get out and run versus the half court. And so how can they control that?
All right, well, here we go. That Tatum-Butler matchup that we've seen so much of here. Kemba Walker trying to hide on Crowder. Butler setting up Crowder as Walker just lost him, but Crowder, it spins out. Crowder having a nightmare shooting performance these last few games. And Boston will try their first attack. Little pitch to Tatum. He's guarded by Crowder to start here. And Butler is on Jaylen Brown. Walker switched on to by Autobio. That leaves Tatum. Goes against the nice help from Robinson, and it'll go back to Miami. Another one of those plays, Danny, where I thought Tatum had just had the spot up here that he could have taken.
Yeah, and considering how well he often shoots on spot ups, he should just take those. They're better shots than he thinks they are.
Eric Spoelstra exhorting Bam into the front court to just go right at Daniel Tice, but could not draw the foul. No, they are going to give it to him late here. And that's something that I talked about so much before the series based on the regular, or I should say the seeding game matchup between these two teams of Autobio just going one-on-one. And we really have seen little of that in this series, but I think he really has the advantage there because Boston's wing players are not set up really to help on that.
And we'll see how Bam looks physically. Remember, he suffered an injury towards the end of Game 4. I didn't notice it as much in Game 5, but it was hard to tell. So we'll see how he looks here.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people were saying the same thing. For me, though, I saw him using that left arm reasonably well. He may also have had to have some sort of treatment before the game that could wear off as the game goes on. Tatum on the fake dribble pitch right down the lane, but Crowder, great hands. Underrated aspect of this Miami team. Butler, Crowder, Iguodala, Autobio, all guys with great hands defensively.
Yeah, and they can swing, and a lot of times they can do so without fouling, which is also extremely important.
Here's Walker against Crowder, pressured. Brown behind the back against Butler. Butler gets a hand on it. Couple of strips here. Still plenty of time. Brown tried to throw it off the backboard, but that didn't work. Now it's Robinson way out from the hash mark. Short. And Brown did well to get back, and he does save it, but right to Butler, and Autobio is fouled by Kemba Walker, and Autobio is going to get his third and fourth free throw attempts of the game already.
Yeah, the only free throw attempts that anybody has taken in this game. Nobody has made a shot from the field yet. Miami's taken and missed 2 threes. Boston has taken and missed 3 shots total.
See if we can update the stats here real quick now that the game is underway. Doesn't actually give us the game. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, we can move the camera around a little bit too.
Yeah. Can't get the whole thing on an ESPN/ABC game, but we can get more of it. And every game the rest of the playoffs will be on ESPN/ABC.
So Autobio, 4 straight free throws as something that he has improved in the bubble as well. Here's Smart setting the screen to get Robinson on Walker. Stops him again. Walker has not really been able to get going one-on-one against these guys. And Jaylen Brown missing the jump shot against Butler. Boston not getting much great offense so far here.
Yeah, a little evocative of the beginning of Game 5 when Boston couldn't score at all either.
Yeah, they had only 5 points in 7 minutes as Butler forced away from the screen with the ice coverage and just uses that to move right into the mid-range. Boston a little confusion. Now the pick and roll. Autobio switching onto Walker. They try to swing it. Now they want to get that quick post up with Tice. That doesn't work. But Brown getting well to the foul line. And that's a great fundamentals by him with the front in the post. Get to the foul line. Now Tice picking up the offensive foul. Clearly this attack by Autobio off the dribble was an emphasis. They've already done that a couple of times. But Tice did well to take that one in the chest. Autobio really didn't have anywhere to go on that one.
Well, it's something to keep an eye on. That last Jaylen Brown finish, Bam was out on the floor. He was not protecting the rim because he was out on a switch. So we'll see if Boston keeps doing that.
Now they lob it in to Tice off the switch. Tatum this time he'll take the spot up. A little bit off though. Dragic with his first attack. Brown cuts him off nicely. They'll go back to Butler. Off the screen. Brown with good help with the nail, but Autobio recovers. Oh, and it just barely rims out. Here's Walker off a catch and shoot in transition.
And I would say these are mostly good looks from Boston that aren't going in, which, again, that's kind of what I thought happened at the beginning of Game 5 as well.
Robinson pick and pop. Man, he is wide open, and the Celtics dodge a bullet on that one. That's like a 50% shot there for Duncan Robinson. Smart. Now they want to post Tatum against Crowder. That's not there. Instead, it's Brown off the pick and roll. No real advantage gain there. Brown goes into two guys, tries to get Walker on the attack over Robinson, and he's going to be tripped from behind and take 2 free throws. Walker has not spent much time at the line in this series.
Yeah, and we'll see. I believe that's the first on Duncan Robinson. So foul trouble for him has been a through line in this series, and so we'll see if that continues. That's only his first here so far.
Yeah, Robinson, who they look to attack, and really I think Walker is having the most success just starting his, as many players do, just starting his attack when he's already on the move with one hard dribble, as opposed to trying to put guys in the mix. He really has been stopped quite a bit on plays like that. Walker hitting the free throw, and it's 6-4. Butler taking the three-pointer. That misses. Tatum on the rebound. Crowder trying to get back into position. Tatum shoves off. No call. Three-pointer. Misses. That was a just result.
Yeah, that was a... Tatum is so blatant at pushing off with his left hand. Did it again there.
Here's Butler. Sets up Crowder. Can he finally hit one? No, he cannot. Nice box out by Tice. Enables Walker to get the rebound. Celtics looking to tie or take the lead on this possession. Smart getting his first touch. Takes a tough 3 over Autobio. Not a good shot that time. And now Adebayo's ahead of the field. Watch this. He's going to try and post up right into the rim. That's what he does. Smart did well to get in front of him, and Tice got back to pick up his man. Dragic, and that's just such a bullshit play. It really is. I hate it.
But also, like, Kemba Walker didn't need to jump in the manner that he did there. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, there's a way to make that not a call.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no reason to protect the offensive player in that situation because he already has the advantage. He's faked the guy out. Now, by virtue of faking the guy out, you can go to the rim. Like, he doesn't need to go into him in that situation. You know, he's not trying to play, and the contact is preventing him from playing.
And significantly, that is Kemba Walker's second foul of this game. And we've seen him be more on the periphery of the rotation comparatively, and I think that could be true in this game as well.
Yeah, 5 fouls, 28 minutes, but was plus 21. Only 4 for 11, however, in Game 5. Only 1 2-point field goal as well. Smart against Robinson. Attacks on the baseline, and he stepped out.
Yep, right heel went as he started the drive. Happens so often in the league. Another reason they should widen the court.
Boston, again, struggling offensively. Have had some decent looks, some not as good. Here's Butler on the fake DHO, and he beat Tatum there that time. The gravity of Robinson, Tatum was just turned his head enough that Butler was able to get into that floater on the baseline. Tatum swings it. Walker on the drive. Nice play again. Attacking Dragic quickly. The Celtics trying to get Autobio involved in an action and then swing the ball quickly to attack when he's otherwise engaged. Here's Dragic, and he's going to get a walk here. Wow. When's the last time we saw a travel on a play like that, Danny?
Well, that was a completely good travel call, though. He jumped and then did a stutter step, and that's like, you don't see guys do what Goran Dragic did there very often.
Yeah.
And I like Brad Stevens keeping Kemba Walker in here because get on the normal rotation. He might commit a third foul, but I don't think so.
Tatum setting up Brown as Duncan Robinson helped just a little bit off the strong side corner. That's the easiest pass in the book. That's usually why helping off the strong side corner is not something you do, but the Heat were in their 2-3 zone, so that changes the rules a little bit. Now Butler, another tough fader for Jimmy Butler. He's had the range on those short floaters so far. taking advantage of Boston's coverage. Back to the 2-3. Smart guns immediately. So that's 2 3-pointers in 2 possessions by Boston against the Heat zone.
Yeah, and that was the aggressiveness of one of the guys at the top of the zone helping a little bit, and Marcus Smart getting into a little bit of a seam that was created by Jimmy Butler shading over.
Dragic, well denied by Walker. Now he gets it in the pick and roll. Conventional pick and roll defense. Oh, the pass is behind Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis, I guess, expected someone to step up there on Autobio, but you really can't let the guy get behind you that way. He just tripped and fell, I guess. Maybe that's what he was upset by. Here's Smart against Robinson. Again, 3 straight 3-pointers for Boston, 2 of them by Smart. And I believe every single one of those has been at the expense of Duncan Robinson. And Boston takes its first lead, leading to a Miami timeout.
And this has been a pretty low stoppage beginning, so we will answer your questions. What can Jaylen Brown do to take the next step, tighten up his handle? He does a lot of things at a high level. What else can he improve? I mean, I think that his handle is good for a complementary player. I don't think he's ever going to be. I mean, sure it'd be great if he could like run pick and roll, but I don't think you really need that so much. Get a little bit of a quicker release on his 3 would I think would make a big difference. But I don't have any like clear cut. Oh, this will give him a jump. Like Jaylen Brown's pretty solid at a lot of different things. Let's see. The Celtics looked better at the end of the game with Smart at PG than they did with Kemba. Could this be a defensive blessing in disguise? Yeah, it could. And that was something Nate and I talked about on Dunked on Prime. And we recorded on both Game 5s on Saturday. And we talked about the idea that possibly for moments in the series, Boston is better without Kemba on the floor. Because now that Gordon Hayward's back, they have enough creators without Kemba. And so they can get to some better lineups.
Yeah, particularly against the zone. I mean, Walker, what makes him so good is as a conventional pick and roll player, and if Miami is not letting him do that, then that changes things. But worth noting that Walker had a couple of nice attacks when the ball was swung to him, and he's just had to find a different way to be effective.
Yeah, I think that's very true. What is a path for Portland? I mean, they're pretty set. I've talked about Houston as being the least flexible team in the league roster-wise, and I think that's true, but I think Portland's pretty close behind them. And one of the big challenges that is a parallel for those two teams is that they don't really have a lot in the way of sweeteners. So if you're thinking about how to retool, there are a bunch of different ways to do it. You can spend your way out, you can make trades, but I don't think that Simons is moving the needle too much for somebody else. And they want to keep Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. would be one, but I think you want to keep him. So I think you listen on CJ, you listen on a couple of guys, but I think they largely keep it together for another year plus.
What can Miami do to keep Autobio close to the rim? Well, that's the point of the zone, number one. But number two, just finding some opportunities as soon as the guy that he's guarding, he's switched onto on the ball, gives it up to try and switch back.
Or pre-switch if you can, which you can't always do.
Yeah.
Can you record a pod on reffing rules you'd like to see changed for next year? Yeah, we might do a segment on that at some point. It's hard sometimes to do a full pod unless we've done like on all of the changes that we'd like to make. But yeah, that could be we could make that a segment on shows of like take something and then we talk about that. That's an interesting idea from Mike Dunn. If the Heat win the finals, who could be the finals MVP? I mean, Jimmy Butler could absolutely do it. Bam could do it. You'll think of who could be their best player in a series. Dragic, I think, could be a finals MVP if they win it. And
any of those three you would think. I don't think Hero is quite consistent enough.
Yeah, unless they replaced Duncan Robinson in the starting lineup and Hero really took off, but I wouldn't expect that.
All right, Gordon Hayward making his first appearance. Enes Kanter is also in some first quarter run earlier than we would normally see him, and he's guarding Andre Iguodala. I think they like that matchup reasonably well. They're not as worried about Iguodala as a pick and roll finisher. Here's Brown helping off the corner, and that leaves Crowder open. Maybe a little bit of an overhelp here. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's actually Ennis Cantor really needs to provide that help more so than Brown. Here's Smart feeling it, misses that one. Cantor fighting on the glass, and his efforts rewarded with a team offensive rebound.
yeah, and that was Cantor's offensive rebounding made a difference in Game 5, and we've talked before about how having Cantor on the floor helps both teams' offense, and they've looked better, but it also can give Boston an identity on that end.
Here's Walker against Hero, who's just come on. Iguodala switching on to Hayward. Hayward trying Iguodala, not an advantage matchup. Smart has to create on Robinson, and Smart certainly not bashful from three. He's had some good and bad stretches so far. Here's Hero attacking Hayward. Now he's got Cantor one-on-one. Going to try him. Steps back for the long two. And I know he made that, but Boston, I'm sure, is happy enough to give up that shot when Ennis Cantor is switched on to Tyler Hero. Cantor against Iguodala. Let's see if they try to get him into the post here. You would imagine that they would. Walker on the drive. Robinson strips down. Hayward wide open. Cantor, and he's going to get fouled. We'll see if they give this as a shooting foul, but Cantor already 2 offensive rebounds, and he's going to have some words here with Crowder. And he's also given up, arguably, or been involved at least in a couple of buckets that they've given up as well.
And they are calling this a shooting foul.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. I think the league should be more aggressive about calling fouls around the basket shooting fouls. I mean, I've talked about a lot of alley-oops, but really a lot of those, when the guy's about to go into the shooting motion, I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, it's a great rebound by Cantor and a clear foul by Crowder. You could argue, actually, that foul took place before the shooting motion began, however, as Cantor 1 out of 2. And let's see what Miami is going to do to try and attack there. Crowder waves Hero to the other side as they get into their set play to go at Walker. Ooh, Crowder had an opening but didn't take it. Now they want to post up Butler. Let's see where the help's going to come from here. Looks like Hayward at the top. Butler going to that mid-ranger again. That time it misses.
And Butler was hitting that shot early, but it's challenging, especially when well contested.
Here's Hayward going into 2 guys, and they're going to get Iguodala for the reach-in here, I believe.
It would probably have been with Iguodala's left hand because I didn't see anything wrong with his right.
Yeah, kind of bailed him out. I didn't think he had anywhere to go, really.
And I believe that's the 4th foul on the Heat. Sometimes the box scores can be a little bit challenging with that.
Brad Wanamaker has come in now for Kemba Walker. They're going to try and post up Brown here on Duncan Robinson with Robinson and Hero both in together. They usually try to avoid that combination. Here's Brown going right at Robinson. Yes. That's certainly an advantage matchup. Boston starting to have more success with post-ups, plays closer to the basket. Now Robinson getting his chance to answer. Oh, yeah. Duncan Robinson is just a wonderful three-point shooter. I mean, yeah.
And again, that's an overhelp from Jaylen Brown, in my opinion. I think that he was on Duncan Robinson. You can't. I don't think you leave him when the 2-on-2 is working okay.
Yeah, you can tell Brown is very worried about Cantor. Then Cantor abandoned his post-up, and this is going to be Heat ball. They tried the lob to him.
That was also a terrible entry pass by Marcus Smart, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could see it on the replay there. Like, Jaylen Brown, he needs to trust his teammates enough to hold that because a Duncan Robinson open 3, like, that's a really dangerous shot.
Yeah, he's very attuned, obviously, to the pick and roll involving Cantor. Behind the back, Iguodala, he spots up easily. And Ennis Cantor is getting murdered, and Brad Stevens going to get a timeout. I do not believe that we will see Ennis Cantor out here after this stint.
And remember, like, we talk about this a lot in terms of how reluctant shooters affect their team's offense, that it gums everything up. Bad defenders do the same thing, where teammates feel like they have to help more, they lose a little bit of attention on their assignments, and I think we've seen a lot of that for Boston during this last 4 minutes or so. I can't think of any way the Sixers can offload Horford. Can you? It's really, really hard right now. I think that a year from now there will be some options, just because at that point the partial guarantee of what is the fourth season will be a lot closer. But I mean, I think he's one of the worst contracts in the league, and I think that might be because it's a little bit of like nadir in his value and a little bit low, but I I don't really see it. And then remember, there's the other part where it's like, oh, maybe you could get somebody who makes more money for a shorter period of time. And one, there aren't that many guys who do that. And two, the Sixers don't want to take on more money for the 2020/21 season. So like theoretically, let's say like Horford for Batum or something like that. Well, that doesn't really help the Sixers in certain respects. It does overall, but I don't think it's going to happen. Would Horford look better in Dallas? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine him looking worse anywhere else. And in Dallas, his ball movement would be good, but I don't think of like, especially with Dallas's 2021 aspirations, I can't think of a reason how they would do a trade like that would actually be good for them. So yeah, in the abstract, like if Horford took a buyout or something and was available, sure, but it's not going to happen. Which one of the Celtics centers does the best job on Bam, or should they stick with small ball with Hayward? Um, Robert Williams can sometimes do well, but his feet are a little bit slow. I would say probably Tice does the best job overall. And they should go small ball in certain circumstances. I don't think you do it 30 minutes a game, but yeah, I think like 12 to 14, sure. Is college free throw percentage an underrated sign of NBA shooting success? I don't think it's an underrated one. I know that some of the best models, I think Jacob Goldstein, I think Seth Partnows, and Kevin Pelton's models for predicting how well college players are going to shoot NBA threes include college free throws. So I wouldn't say it's underappreciated by the people who kind of know what they're doing, but I think that it can be a sign. And there's also something Nate and I have talked about at various moments in time. It can be in the opposite too. I think the converse is the more interesting, where it's like college power forward who's going to be a wing shoots 40% on a small volume of threes, but shoots 60% from the free throw line. And so that it can be like, oh, maybe they're not as good of a shoot. They're not going to be as good a shooter as that 3-point percentage on a small sample size.
Catch you up here quickly on the stats. Boston now, they are 1 of 9 on above the break threes and 3 of 3 on corner threes. And each team has taken a mere one shot at the rim so far. And we'll return here to live action. Let's see if Cantor is out there still.
Only 3 shots combined in the restricted area in this game. 1 for Boston, 2 for Miami so far. 10 free throws, though, worth noting.
Looks like the Heat are back in the zone here with Iguodala and Hero up top. They're going with Dragic, Hero, and Duncan Robinson. Here's a 3 in the corner from Hayward, and that goes down. That actually might have been one of those corner threes. So Boston getting a needed look. Good job continuing to attack the corner as Dragic had to step up from the corner, and it was wide open. Autobio is back. Forced Hero away from the screen. Cantor is still in the game, and Hero hits the jumper. Surprising that Cantor is still in. Back to the zone for the Heat off the make. Wanamaker leaving it for Cantor. Cantor with a short floater that rims off.
And that was a contest and a rebound for Bam Adebayo.
Robinson with the right-handed pass. Pick and roll here against Cantor. Dragic setting up Iguodala wide open. Yes, Andre Iguodala, 2 3-pointers in a row here, continuing to attack Enes Kanter in pick and roll. And you see these threes are open. They haven't gotten anything at the rim. That's not the traditional way that they die with Kanter, as Wanamaker drives, and another corner 3 goes down for Jaylen Brown. They are doing a good job of finding the corner men now, are the Celtics, but their defense has been atrocious here. And the wings are feeling like they have to help down, and so that's why these threes are happening out of pick and roll. Going at it again here. Iguodala switched onto by Cantor. Wanted to get Robinson. Brown did well to navigate the screen and then gets a hand on the pass as well. Now he switches on to Hero. Dragic has to take a deep 3. Oh, man, that's a killer for Boston, as Wanamaker had helped out just a little bit on penetration, and they give up the 3 late in the
Yeah,
clock.
that was Boston's best defensive possession, like 3-4 minutes, and Miami gets 3 out of it.
And actually, Wanamaker really didn't have much of an excuse. Now Hayward on the drive. Boston missing these short floaters. Hero on the push. Turns the corner on Brown. Tries him, but Brown did well to contest. Tatum is returned. They'll clear the side out for him against Duncan Robinson. Quick step back. That's way off. They get it ahead to Robinson. Not a threat to attack off the dribble. Dragic is, and he's going to get blocked. See whether they're going to be in the bonus here or not.
That might be Miami's fourth. It's hard. I think that's their fourth.
So Jason Tatum on his way to yet another miserable first half with 0 for 5 shooting. He, of course, has gone on to completely explode in the second half in the last 2 games.
He does have 4 assists, though, worth noting.
That is worth noting. They go under on Hero. Now he attacks against the ice coverage. Good job at Wanamaker getting through. Gets a hand on it. And he knocks it off of Hero's thigh. Great defense. Hero there to complain, but referee not hearing it.
And Boston, it'd be really hard for them to get the 2-for-1 here with 35 seconds when they inbounded it, and they're not even trying it.
Yeah, Heat in the zone off the dead ball. They go to the zone off makes and off dead balls. Here's Hayward, another corner 3. Man, this is the way they are attacking this zone is fantastic. They're finally really have it figured out that the corner is the place to attack. We've been saying that since game 2. Not that they've done poorly against the zone. Good denial by Smart on Dragic. Autobio now gives it to Hero. Late clock. Hero crossing over. That's a deep 3. Just rims out, and Tice did well to get back in for the rebound. And Boston survives a terrible defensive first quarter. I don't think Miami, frankly, once they went to the zone, was not a ton better themselves. But a lot of three-point shooting and a good first quarter overall from an entertainment standpoint, at least.
Yeah, and as you can see from our friends at RT Hoops, Miami has a 127 offensive rating fueled by 73% true shooting and a really low turnover rate, 11%, which is 3 turnovers on 26 possessions. So very efficient offense, as you were saying. In Miami, 5 of 10 from 3. You know, you don't necessarily expect that to continue forever, but they've mostly been good looks. And Boston, 6 of 14 from 3 on some good looks as well. So we'll see how those rates move over time, and we can get to some of your questions.
Yeah, a couple of the quick notes there. Boston is 5 of 5 on corner three-pointers, and 1 of 9 still on above the breaks. And Miami was 1 for 5 on their first 5 threes, and then 4 for 5 on their next 5.
Is ball handling the skill with the greatest ROI?
In terms of just like spending time to improve it?
Or maybe the idea that like some goes a long way. Well, I think that incidentally, this would be the opposite of what you might think. For support players, I think that might be more true. That, you know, being able to, like I talk about 2 dribbles and a good decision all the time. And like, I think for those players, you know, asking them to do what they can do. And like for Bam, I think it's more decision making than anything else. It's not like his handle is good for a guy his size, but I think it's more that he can make quick decisions. He's good at the handoff game and all that. And that's not really ball handling as I would see it. It's overall kind of like skill level.
So one thing that's a little harder to work on, because it takes like a lot of energy to do this when you're working out, is finishing at the rim. Just practicing against a contest, just getting that feel, getting some reps on, you know, going against a live defender at the rim in a drill to just try and finish over them. I think that's one that really has a high ROI. And then the other one I'd point to actually is just improving your passing, not even necessarily from a vision standpoint, but just an execution standpoint of being able to throw one-handed, left-handed passes, behind the back passes, on target, jump in the air and throw passes, like to actually work on that so that when you see something as a pass, you can actually execute it. I think that that's something that really you can go make pretty big improvements pretty quickly in those two things.
Is there anyone on either of these teams that can guard LeBron? I would say Miami has more guys that have like at least a credible chance with Iguodala, Butler, and Crowder. None of them are perfect, but there aren't many perfect players that exist. Boston's guys are a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, and I think that will cause them some problems. Ojale would be fascinating, and I think Ojale would actually play if the Celtics make the finals. Zach Lowe says Jimmy Butler is a bona fide top 10 player. Where do you guys stand on that? I don't have him like it's I think he's been a top 10 player at times in these playoffs, but if I were to like say regular season plus playoffs, I mean he shot what was it like 24% on threes in the regular season? Like that's a real challenge. But we're back.
Yeah, he remained in the zone. And this is interesting. They've actually got now Solomon Hill playing the baseline, so a little bit less size up top, more size on the baseline. They get it to Tatum at the foul line. Triple teamed, and he's reached in on by Hero for the foul.
And early fouls in the second and fourth are something I always talk about because it's a lot of backup guys that are trying to make their effort felt, and so see if they can get Boston or Miami in the bonus early in the quarter.
Yeah, the above the break versus corner three-point shooting dichotomy continues for Boston with that Hayward miss. Now it's Dragic. Nice box up by Smart on Autobio, and now they can attack 4-on-4. Tice trying to set the screen in the middle. Wanamaker, easy three. That misses their first missed corner three, but it goes right back to Smart. He'll gun it. Yes, sir. Excellent possession there by Tice. His running the floor forced the help, which then allowed Wanamaker to get open with the initial three. He got the rebound and then got the assist. Here's Butler going at Hayward. Right through him. Jimmy Butler finding some offense here in those short little attacks originating in the mid-range.
And Butler 8 points on 4 of 6 from the field.
There's a nice easy drive by Tatum against the zone. Forced the big to step up, and then Tice got inside of the baseline defender for the dunk. Back out, Hero. Forced towards the baseline again. Autobio, good help from Hayward on the stunt. Forced him into the jumper, but Autobio continuing to show that he has really improved that mid-ranger over the regular season when he struggled. Tatum. And Wanamaker, I don't know why he was standing so close to Tatum there. Swinging around. Smart is wide open. Man, Marcus Smart, he's gotten to the point in his career where you can't give him those type of looks, Danny.
Well, and again, that was Jimmy Butler shading into the action, making the pass to where he wasn't guarding, wide open.
Butler against Wanamaker. Oh, whoa, he just completely wrong-footed him, and then a terrible foul by Wanamaker as well to compound it. But this is more like the Jimmy Butler that we saw. And Tice, he's not even looking. That's terrible by Tice. Why you've got Jimmy Butler against a much smaller player, and Daniel Tice doesn't even have his head turned to look over there.
Yeah, and I mean that was a straight up blow by, but if the big is looking, at least you can force the pass.
Yeah, now it is tough to get there. I mean, we think about, the help defender is always closer. That NBA lane is wide.
It is.
Butler is basically as far from the basket as Tice is when he starts that attack. If you give up a straight blow-by like that, it's tough for Tice to get over there anyway, but it would help to look and at least see if that it's happening. Tatum tried to go through the arm of Hero, didn't get it, and airballed. Dragic on the push. They got to get help here. Wanamaker actually just cuts him off. Nice job. Now Dragic gnashing along the baseline. Kicks it out. It's Hill, not a threat from there. Autobio. Good job by Dragic. That was great recognition by Dragic. I know he missed that, to not use the screen and allow the Celtics to switch back to the matchup. Instead, he kept Tice on him. He got a good look, just missed it. Tatum on the little slip. Nice fake underneath, but he blows it. What long arms, though. And he's going to get fouled here by Autobio. Not a good possession, but he at least made a good effort to pick it up. Hopefully his knee is okay. Let's see the... Yeah, Autobio did kind of trap the leg underneath him, but he appears to be fine. Yeah, Tatum, again, just not a very good finisher still. He really just has to get better at that. And we can't really see how bad that knee thing might have been, but he looked to be all right.
It seems like he's moving okay right now.
Yeah, 6 assists now for Tatum. I mean, he's been a great connector against the zone in particular, but can't buy a shot. Hayward looking for the quick slip to Tice. Instead, throws it to Smart. Smart a little over-aggressive that time as the defense was there. Now he forces Autobio to go back to goal, then tries for the dive after he got the deflection. That's going to leave Hero open, though, and they're lucky he missed that. Tice keeping it alive, but it'll be a loose ball foul in favor of Autobio.
Yeah, and it seems like we've seen in both conference finals, we've seen a lot of instead of a rebound, a foul in the rebounding action, which doesn't get credit in the same way, but has an even better effect some of the time than getting an offensive rebound. Benefit of an offensive rebound is you generally get a better putback opportunity than a baseline out of bounds.
Looks like Cantor is actually going to come back in now. Tice picking up a foul with the old left hand, by the way. Boston in their 2-3. Here's Butler in the mid-range, bothered from behind nicely by Smart. Here's Walker off the pick and roll, engages Hill. Now it's Tatum over Iguodala, and finally, Jason Tatum with his first bucket. Thought Iguodala really backed off him a little bit more than he needed to there. I don't think Tatum has the quickness advantage on Iguodala. It seems like Stevens, whenever Iguodala comes in the game, that's when he's going to try to find Enes Kanter. Iguodala handing off on the baseline, goes in and dunks it easily. Man, Enes Kanter just a massive liability in pick and roll defense.
He doesn't have the lateral mobility to kind of hedge and recover, and so Iguodala just gets right in there for a dunk.
Trying to post up Kanter now underneath. Smart on the drive. Oh, he tried the lefty dunk, but Kanter there for the easy putback.
And that was a nice seal by Kanter, in the auspices of a post-up to basically make sure that the guy gets an open lane, but Marcus Smart missed the dunk.
The auspices, I like it. Here's Butler, cut off. Smart, shot out of a cannon for the loose ball. Tatum saves it. Walker looking to push it, but the Heat back. It's a 3-on-5. Walker in the mid-range, and Iguodala did well to contest. They tried Dragic on the roll to the basket. Kanter with good help off of Iguodala that time. Going back to Iguodala now and trying to post up. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful basketball by Iguodala and Butler. And they knew that Kemba Walker was worried about Butler trying to post up at the nail, and Butler just went right behind him, and Iguodala, a great passer, found him easily.
And now Miami's up to 5 of 6 in the restricted area. They're all an identical 5 of 6 actually from mid-range, a lot of those being Jimmy Butler. Butler, 13 points on 6 of 9 from the field, 6 of 8 on twos, missed his only 3. And let's get some questions. Let's see. There are a couple different ones. Is playing in the same gym for months inflating shooting numbers? It might be. I mean, we really don't know yet. And that's Sirat Sohi and I actually had we had a little bit of a conversation about like what will we take away from the bubble, and the answer basically we came to was we'll have to see. But it does seem like there might be some rhythm benefits there. And I don't know. There are 3 different gyms. I don't know if those are identical or how that worked from the player's perspective. But now they're playing all in the same one, I believe.
Yeah, in thinking about this, it's really difficult for me to know what to do because you think, oh man, there's all these aberrational performances. And why is that happening? Is it happening because all these players basically had an off season? Is it happening because some players had an off season and others just didn't really get to work out during lockdown measures? Is it happening because there's no travel? Is it happening because of the shooting background? Is it happening because some players can deal with the bubble better mentally than others can? And it feels like we've had all these outlier results, but are you just noticing those outlier results more because you're looking for them already because it's a different environment? My overall approach is just going to be wait and see on some of this stuff. If Jamal Murray comes out and has a ridiculous first 10 games of the season in the same fashion that he did in the bubble, then all right. I think I'm ready to take Jamal Murray to another level. If Goran Dragic looks awesome again next year the way he did in the bubble, then maybe I'm willing to say no, he's back to being an all-star level player. But I can't. It's difficult for me to make any hard conclusions yet, and I think a lot of teams are going to feel similarly when it comes to this free agent class.
A question from Peter Wiggin. Should GMs look for backups that are stunt doubles, like so basically similar versions but not the same, or players with different strengths and weaknesses from the starters? And I think the biggest question there is what is your theory of that person's role within the team? So if the most important thing for them is to be like an injury replacement, or if there's something scheme essential about the player that they're backing up, then we probably want somebody more similar, because then you can plug and play largely. If that player is less essential to what you're doing, I think you go in different routes, so then you can try different things. So like Boston centers, I would go in different approaches there, and like the Warriors at center, but maybe at maybe you want to, if you can get one, a point guard that kind of sees the game similarly to your starters, so that you don't have to change everything.
I will be back here and very interested to see whether Enes Kanter remains in the game or not. Jaylen Brown is back for the Celtics. Seems like they've largely abandoned the group with the five smalls. I might consider that when they're going with Iguodala at center in particular.
Absolutely.
Heat starting out in that 2-2-1 zone press, moving back into the 2-3. Kanter remains on the floor. Autobio is back. Trying to get Walker into the middle of the zone. That's not there. Nice pass under to Tatum. Leaves it for Brown. Brown layup. Kanter trying the tip. Oh, man. Brown just blew that one. He was wide open. Now it's Kanter against Autobio. Let's see if they try to attack this a little bit. Looking for Hero. Going at Kanter in pick and roll. Kanter backs off. They'll just run at him again. A third handoff now. This time they get Kanter as Autobio goes to the rim, and they're giving up another bucket with 1.3 on the shot clock.
Yeah, and that's Marcus Smart on the foul. That is his first of the game. Okay, so he's not there for reference. 2 fouls for Tice, Kemba Walker, and Wanamaker. For Boston, Bam has 2 for Miami. He's the only guy. No, thankfully, no Nikola Jokic situations in this elimination game so far.
So Tice returning. Hayward is back also. And the pick and roll smorgasbord should come to a temporary halt here for the Heat, you would imagine. It's been an interesting first half, more of an offensive bent than it normally is. So the Heat back in the 2-2-1.
Well, and remember, the early part, both teams were getting some pretty good looks and missed those, so it's not like the defense got a lot worse or anything.
Here's Tice. That finally, Boston gets that floater range play to go down. Good look again from Tatum. I think that's, 7 assists for him already in the first half? He's really doing a great job distributing against the zone. Now Autobio trying Tice. Looking on the weak side for the split cuts, it's Hero. Tried to leave it for Bam, and Tatum intercepts. Let's see if Hero can bother him. He cannot!
And that's the second game in a row. Hero threw a flat-footed pass to the opposite side, and it got pick-sixed. I think both times was by Tatum. Might have been, no, it was Jaylen Brown the first time.
No, I think it was Tatum.
Okay.
Now Hero. That's a little better distribution. And the Celtics have been getting away in pick and roll with leaving Duncan Robinson a little bit. And that time Hero found the right pass after the turnover the previous possession.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it's been Jaylen Brown being overzealous. And you're running a calculation. I mean, you can say, hey, we need to get to Bam there, but they're giving up wide open Duncan Robinson threes way too much.
So this is interesting now. They're really, against this zone, they're having Bam lay way back and try to force that floater in the middle, and Boston is getting a lot of those shots. Let's see if they keep hitting them. Now here's Hero with his own floater. Steve Nash-like 1-footer from the free throw line. Right back to the same play. Walker into the mid-range, gets Crowder in the air. Here's Hayward, and he gets that running float at the exact same shot that Hero just made. Boy, nobody can stop anybody in this game right now. Pick and roll again, same play. This time they blitz it. Bam! Get out of his way for the dunk. Boston powerless against this Miami pick and roll right now. Maybe they should go back to the switching.
I think they should.
Tatum against Autobio, the switching man-to-man for the Heat. They're out of the 2-3 now. Hayward tries Autobio, and you're not getting anywhere against Bam Autobio. Iguodala, and it's kicked away by Tatum. That was about to be a Robinson 3.
Oh, and that's, I mean, there are some who will think that that's why they should make the rule different, but you should totally do a kickball if you can in that situation, because it's a side out is a whole lot better than the shot Miami was about to get. Yet again, I do not love hands on somebody in the air, but that didn't really move Adebayo or make his landing more dangerous, so I'm okay with it not being a foul.
Autobio at the elbow, trying the back screen here for Butler. Instead, Crowder popping out. That misses, though. Crowder had hit one, but as mentioned, has struggled in the last couple of games. Hayward off that screen away. Now they get into the pitch for Tatum. He's going to try Autobio. Tough fadeaway. That misses, and we're going to – no, it's going to be a push in the back by Tice.
And that is Daniel Tice's third foul.
Absolute killer, because when he hasn't been out there, they've been getting smoked. And it will be Rob Williams now. You imagine they're going to continue to go in the pick and roll at Rob Williams until they stop it.
Well, and I loosely understand what Stevens is doing here, but if Tice isn't going to close the game, and we don't know whether he is or he is not, it's less important if he has 3 fouls right now.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful play. And that was, I know Williams was there to contest at the end, but that was a miscommunication between Walker and Tatum, but just a quick slip on that switch by the Heat. This is really a fantastic offensive basketball by Miami here in this first half. And looks like they're going to get a moving
I'm so
screen.
happy they called that. That was a really lazy moving screen by Jason Tatum, and you can't let offenses get away with that. Yeah, that was really interesting. It was kind of a fake screen and then became a seal. It worked out beautifully for Miami.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's really, really good offensive basketball right there. Same play again for the Heat. Butler attempting to back down on Walker, turning the corner. Williams comes over. Walker got sent flying. 4-on-4. Brown, Tatum. He'll take the 3 as Hero left him. And Boston back to a 4-point disadvantage. It seems like it's been fluctuating between 4 and 7 this entire first half.
Yeah, that feels about right. See if Miami can get a good shot here.
Hero attacking Williams. Williams, he at least is providing a little more rim protection than experienced by Miami. He's forced a couple of misses. Here's Walker against Crowder. Pick and roll. Steps back. Tough 3. That goes down. He put a ton of arc on that one. And Boston now within 1 once more. Looks like it'll be a timeout for Eric Spoelstra as Kemba Walker got a really difficult 3, and both teams really have been playing exceedingly well on offense in the second quarter.
Yeah, we're seeing both teams for the full game offensive ratings around 120, and Boston's turnover trouble early has toned down a little bit. They're at 7 now for the full game.
Both teams also much more attacking early in transition. We're on pace for about 50 possessions in this first half, which is much more than we've seen. We've seen some games in this series where there's only been 90 possessions for the whole game.
From the Nando Perron, why attacking Bam? That's a great question. Bam is one of their best isolation defenders. I don't think Boston should go at him as much as they do. Will we see the small line for the Celtics in this game? Yeah, I think we will. I don't know. I think it'll be less. It feels like Stevens isn't super comfortable with it, but I do think that we will see it in the second half.
To me, it makes more sense than going with Cantor. If they're going to play Iguodala at center, why not go with that small lineup? I think you have more talent on the floor than Miami does with those groups. But I mean, I think part of the problem is just that they have guys who need rests during that period as well.
Oh, you mentioned a Jokic situation like last night. What does that mean? That means a star player who misses time due to foul trouble. That's what I meant by that. And to me, that makes the game less exciting. And that was a part of why Denver lost last night. Oh, that's an interesting one from Jose Benitez. Is it worse to be unplayably bad on defense or on offense? And generally speaking, and I think this is different for centers, generally speaking, defense, because there are ways that you can scheme around that. Whereas a player who is unplayably bad on offense, it's so much harder to hide them in the modern NBA.
Yeah, so you're saying it's worse to be unplayably bad on offense.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other point that we've made on this before too is that A, you can help a guy, but B, the delta between the worst offensive player and the best offensive player is larger than the delta between the best defensive player and the worst defensive player, in my opinion.
Well, and especially if you get to let's say the 10%, like the 10th percentile defender, I think that gets that's an even narrower difference. How do the Warriors get Iguodala back? Mechanically, it's actually pretty easy because.
Can I make one more point on that one too?
Sure,
that we just finished. Sorry, I think it's also much easier to improve if you suck at defense than improve if you suck at offense.
Yeah, I would say that's true, especially the guys who have kind of bad instincts and don't have skills. I think that's fair.
Yeah, if you haven't just developed any skills by the time you get to the NBA as an offensive player, the odds are that there's just something about you where you just can't develop it. Whereas defense, it's just okay, I'm learning where to put my body. I can try harder. Trying harder on offense isn't going to help you. So trying harder on defense absolutely is going to help you. All right, sorry, you're going to say about Iguodala though.
So somebody asked how the Warriors can get Iguodala back, and they actually have an easy mechanism for doing that if Miami wants to trade him. In the trade exception, the Iguodala trade exception, which will expire early on, but we just don't know if that's what Miami wants, and the Warriors are asset poor. We're back to live action.
Yeah, 2-3 here for Boston on the sideline out of bounds. And Hero blows past Williams. Tatum with great help. Good closeout again by Brown. Crowder missing the three. And Walker did battle just enough to make this Boston ball. That was a very high effort defensive possession for Boston out of the timeout. They started the 2-3. I believe they matched up out of that. And Tatum had a really nice closeout, and so did Brown. Walker fakes the screen. Now pick and roll. Williams screening away for Walker. Good job by Hero diagnosing that perfectly. Here's Tatum with the deep three over Crowder. Williams has it. Tatum looking to pass it to Williams. Now he's going to go into his attack against Crowder. Nice move on the baseline as no help came. Great job, and Boston has their first lead in some time here.
Yeah, and an 8-0 run in the last 2 minutes.
Let's see if Boston can avoid fouling Miami here late. Here's Dragic leaving it for Crowder, and Gordon Hayward had no idea where his man was. He was sprinting out to the corner thinking that Crowder was still there, and instead he had cut right behind him. 2-3 off the make. Tatum, good stunt there by Hero, but that leaves Rob Williams wide open. He got behind Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, and Bam was shading over to Tatum, thought he was going to drive. Great read by Tatum. I think that's his 8th assist.
Yeah, incredible passing quarter for him. Here's Autobio over Williams. He just moved around in the lane, got behind him just enough. Miami back in front. Walker switched onto by Butler in the zone. He's just going to get past Crowder. Nice pass fake that time to get the layup. Just the blow by on Jay Crowder for Kemba, and Boston seesaws back into a lead. Walker forcing Dragic away from the screen. He'll try Williams. Butler with a nice little look. Interior passing. That's 80s style. And still, nobody can get a stop to save their lives. Boston in the 2-for-1 situation. A little harder to get that quickly against the zone. Walker, Tatum, tries Butler. Tough shot over him. That misses, though. Not a great look. They did get the 2-for-1, barely. And Miami looking to build on their 1-point lead. They go back to the 2-3. You saw Brad Stevens put the signal up. They get into the middle of the bam. He loses it. Boston can try to take the lead here, and Dragic with a very good Euro foul that time with Boston not in the bonus.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so theoretically there you take away the chance that like if he had rushed it and Miami would have had a chance to get another shot, but you also take away Boston probably getting 2 points.
Yeah, that only the first for Dragic. See what Brad Stevens has set up here. They go to a man-to-man, taking Autobio out and putting Hill in. Here's Hayward, going to try Dragic, just lost it. Here's Butler looking to push it. He's got Tatum. Tatum blocks it from behind. No, what are they going to say here?
No, they're going to call an over the back. They're going to call a foul here on Kemba Walker pushing Goran Dragic for the rebound with 1 second left, and that was a terrible foul by Kemba Walker, but he correctly called one. If that's what happened.
Yeah, let's see if we can catch it here. Tatum, just a great defensive play here on Butler to force the miss, and oof, I mean, I'm getting pretty sick of Goran Dragic, I got to tell you, Danny.
But I mean, there was a left arm push there. Like, I mean, Kemba Walker pushed him, and he was from behind. Dragic had position. I'm fine with that.
I mean, the thing is, Dragic didn't have position though. Like he's all the way under the rim before he even jumps. He knows he's not going to get it, and he just launches himself into the baseline, and like he's just my own personal preference. A guy whose game that in most ways I love. It's a little much for me. He makes 1 out of 2 there. And
that was closer than I thought it was going to be.
So, interesting first half. Miami by 2. It does seem like it's really difficult for Miami to ever blow teams out, which they always seem to be in games, but they're also, if you're going to play 3 close games, or maybe 2, we'll see if they win this one, but when you can't blow a team out, it is possible to lose a 3-1 lead if it's going to be close down the end every time. But we'll see what happens here in the second half. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Hi, welcome back, everyone, to the NBA cast. 62-60 Miami at halftime. And what were some of the key stats that stick out from the first half?
I mean, it was a remarkably efficient game for both teams. Basically, a 120 offensive rating for each side. Miami doing little bit of a better job taking care of the ball. And I think one of the most telling, though, Miami doesn't have a single credited offensive rebound. Now, they do have a couple of team rebounds, and they also have at least one offensive foul called in the offense, or one foul called in the offensive rebounding action. But the Celtics have had real trouble there at moments in time.
So recall that each team only had one bucket in the restricted area in the first quarter. Well, both teams basically were, I think, exactly were 6 out of 8 in the restricted area in the second quarter. And that was really reflected, particularly for Miami, in attacking Ennis Cantor and pick and roll. It was just really more conventional pick and roll offense for Miami than some of the handoff stuff that they like to do. They didn't get as many threes. Boston really trying to shut off the three-point line, only gave up 14 three-point attempts to Miami, whereas Boston had 23 in the first half and made 11 of them. But Miami did get to the foul line quite a bit. Autobio was awesome in the first half with 16 points, 5 of 6, 6 of 6 from the foul line. And so that's what I want to see in the second half is which team is going to be able to score more at the basket. Here's Tatum back to goal against Crowder. They set up Jaylen Brown for the three above the break, and Boston with the lead. Good start for the Celtics. Double screen here as Walker steps out hard to force Butler away from it. They switch back nicely. Now Butler will try Walker again late in the clock. Let's see where the help is going to come from here. Butler just one-on-one into the mid-range. Crowder gets past Tatum. Way short, though. Good stop for the Celtics. Here's Tatum going at Robinson along the baseline through 3 Heat players, but he missed the layup again. That just jump shot layup that he likes to shoot just does not go down for him.
Oh, and Kemba completely diagnosed where where Jimmy Butler was going with that pass, but couldn't get a hand on it. So it is going to be Heat ball. Looks like it'll be a baseline inbound.
Yeah, the Heat very comfortable attacking the ice coverage by Boston where they forced on the baseline. Now Boston in the 2-3 zone on the baseline out of bounds. Now they match up out of it. Butler, as they go under on him, way short on the 3. 2 missed left wing threes that were way short so far here by Miami. Brown hands off to Smart. They switch this. Smart going to try Autobio one-on-one. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Terrible process.
Yeah,
it
absolutely
works,
ridiculous. And he scores somehow, but like you got Jaylen Brown guarded by Goran Dragic, and Marcus Smart is going to go attack Bam Adebayo and said that makes no sense at all, and somehow they score out of it anyway. Here's Dragic. His 3, and it bounces around and goes in. He's had a couple of those in this series, and he's tied it at 65. Heat back in the zone on the make. Tatum attacking on Crowder, and they're going to say, yes, it went off the knee of Jason Tatum.
And I think that's 2 strips that Jay Crowder has gotten on Tatum so far in this game.
Yeah, Tatum again with that push off. It does, in fact, go off of his knee. Clear call in favor of the Heat. Bam handing off to Robinson. Just needs a tiny window. What a shot. They went under him. I think Jaylen Brown thought he had him, and he just didn't. Now Walker tries a similar shot, and that time they did well to get out and force the high archer. Miami with 2 straight three-pointers to get back into control. Here's Dragic. Leaves it for Autobio. Great pass. Autobio can't get it. Gets it back. Run into by Smart, and it's going to be a loose ball foul on Smart, which this one to me should be a no call. Maybe they're going to say Tice got him, in which case it would be his 4th, and he can't believe it. That is what it's going to be.
Yeah, and that's an absolutely massive call. I mean, we've seen how Boston's defended when Tice been up 4, and then maybe this is the impetus for Stevens to go to his 5 best players.
Yeah, they're going to stick with Tice for now. They start the 2-3 in the out of bounds, and they match up out of that. Dragic over Walker. That misses. 2 Celtics go vie for the rebound, and a third gets it. Smart fakes it, drives it. What a shot by Smart on Goran Dragic. He faked it to the other side. Now Butler going into Tice, and what is this? Offensive foul?
They're calling a block on Kemba, I believe.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. I mean, once again, we see 3 times a game, it seems like Walker is involved in these confrontations, trying to cut someone off like Butler. Man, what a shot that is from Smart over Dragic. This feels like it's just going to be a war all the way down to the end, doesn't it?
It does. Though Boston has had some big third quarters. I'm not 100% sure that another one isn't coming.
Robinson got in the air.
Oh, and so that was Kemba's fourth.
And that was a good call, by the way, on Duncan Robinson. Tatum against Butler in the zone. Wants the screen. Sets up the corner 3 for Smart. Oh, just missed it. No more great process, though, getting it to the corner against the zone, putting Robinson into difficulty on that screen on the outside of the guard. Now here's Bam trying Hayward. Kicks it out. Good closeout by Brown. Now Bam going back at Hayward. Butler into the lane. And he eludes Tice, but blew the layup. Well, he just smoked that one. Now Brown against Robinson. Swings it around. Opens corner 3. No, it's a closeout by Crowder. And then Smart took it anyway. Smart getting a little thirsty here early.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken 3 aggressive shots and I think 1 pretty good shot. But he's made some of the aggressive ones.
Robinson switched onto by Tice on the late switch. Autobio trying Brown. Left hand off the glass. Again, that's the kind of attack that I think is going to be there for Autobio that they just haven't gone to in this series. He's got the size advantage on basically anyone they're going to put on him. Set the screen on the inside of the zone. And that leaves an easy... Oh, another smoked layup. Wow, that was even worse than Butler's.
Yeah, I mean, Hayward, if he had a little more bounce, could have just dunked that. Bam was a little bit behind the play.
Good job by Hayward getting inside of Bam. They throw it underneath. Bam, left hand, and he's fouled by Gordon Hayward.
And for a second, I thought he grabbed his shoulder, but I don't think Bam did that. I think I was just looking for it because of the fall.
Okay, here's a look at that Autobio drive. I mean, that is a very difficult shot off the glass with the left hand. Anybody seem like they have the advantage to you here in the third?
I think Miami's getting better shots. And their defense has generally looked pretty crisp. I think they've been better. And also, remember, 2 of Boston's key players have 4 fouls. So, yeah, I think Miami has a real advantage here.
Yeah, don't quote me on this if this ends up being like a 15-point win for one of these teams. But it seems like one of these games where just a bunch of crazy shit is going to happen, like a Boston-Toronto Game 6. Walker is on the bench. Tatum on the drive. Gets Bam in the air. Missed Tice underneath, but doesn't matter as he hit a very difficult floater.
Yeah, for a second I thought he was lofting in an entry pass there, but no, that was a made basket.
Butler on the drive. Tried to leave it for Autobio, but Tice got back in front. Now Dragic will try the pick and roll. Smart does well to get through the screen. Bam takes the mid-ranger in rhythm. Oh, and a Don Nelson-esque bounce. I mean, that's really... The Dragic 3 and that Bam bounce are the difference in the game right now. A 5-point Miami lead. Smart trying Brown, who recovers. Hayward swinging around. Pass fake. Good job by Robinson there. And it's knocked out of bounds. They're actually going to get a defensive 3-second here on Autobio. He tried to clear out of the lane, but he never actually jumped outside of the lane, so it'll be free throws.
And what I loved about Duncan Robinson there, he stunted to Hayward, and part of the reason he stunted and recovered was he saw Jimmy Butler coming over to recover. So in that circumstance, you know that if you make Hayward hesitate, you're totally fine, and that's what happened. Let's get to some questions. Is Bam Adebayo untouchable at this point in a trade? No, I don't think so. I think that the only players for me that are truly untouchable are like maybe like the top 2 or 3 guys in the league or players who could credibly get there. But Bam is very difficult to trade because one of the best value contracts in the league in team control. So, but no, I think that people use that term too broadly, and very few players are truly untradeable. From Anna and Mark, zone against the Lakers? Yes, absolutely. That was something we started riffing on late in the pod yesterday, was that if we end up with a Miami Lakers series, seeing how that Miami, the 2-3 in particular, how that looks against the Lakers would be absolutely fascinating.
Who will have a better career, Nurkic or Bam? Oh, Bam, easily. I mean, Bam is already better than Nurkic has ever been, and Nurkic is older.
And Bam's what, like 2023?
And Bam also has never had a serious injury either. Nurkic has had a couple. He had that patellar tendon, and he had the broken leg.
Yeah, Bam just turned 23. So yeah, he'll be good for a long time. Why is Jason Tatum such a poor finisher around the rim? I think he needs more experience with it. He's also like physical strength is a very important attribute of players finishing around the rim, like that, and experience. And Tatum's not the physically strongest guy around. I mean, he's gotten better, but he's not all the way there yet. So I think he doesn't have all the moves, he doesn't have all the strength, and so it takes time.
He's also not that explosive, other than when he's going full speed, when he's very explosive. But off of 2 feet, or when he gets into his Euro step game, I wonder if he may have smaller hands as well. That could be part of why he feels I mean, it really is just he's got to get one-handed finishes instead of two-handed finishes.
What sort of contract do you expect LeBron to sign when his current contract expires? I think he's going to do shorter term deals, not necessarily to squeeze the Lakers the way that he did with Cleveland, but just because he kind of wants to stay flexible and it doesn't make that much of a difference to him. I don't think that he's trying to like maximize, squeeze every dollar out of it. He's going to basically have the contracts there. So my instinct is he'll do 1+1s, maybe a 2+1 periodically. And then I still have my theory that he's going to try to time his free agency with Bronny, which would be fascinating if it happens. Very quickly, if Giannis signs his extension, how does that change Miami's plan? I still think you go big game hunting then at that point, even if Giannis is off the board. It just makes that less enticing.
All right, we're back here. 74-69. This feels like a potentially a critical period, as Miami's going to look to push it out to a lead that they may not relinquish, or Boston trying to get back and tie it. With the fouls for Boston and some of these shots that have gone down for Miami, they're going to need to really lock in mentally the Celtics a little bit more than they have been so far. Both teams' defense really has not been close to good enough. And that's where I think Boston really has to win this. So Tatum has the free throw on the defensive 3 seconds by Bam, and he's now on the bench. With Walker in foul trouble, maybe they feel they can't go with their best 5 unit, but that would be my advice, assuming that Iguodala has replaced Bam here. And that is the case. He's guarding Tice. Little snug pick and roll. Tatum on the drive, and he gets through it with little help available at the rim. So Boston right back to a 2-point disadvantage. Dragic against Smart. Iguodala in the post. They want to run some split cut action here. Dragic in the mid-range. Missed that. Butler kept it alive. Swing it around. Dragic catch and shoot. Ooh, just rims out. So the shooting luck goes there.
I loved Miami moving that ball quickly after the offensive rebound, getting a great shot.
Tice tried to post up Iguodala, but they missed him. Here's Brown on a quick drive. Iguodala contested him. Missed layup by Tice. Now Miami ahead of the field. Crowder has the layup. Easy.
Missed layup on one end, clear look on the other.
Yeah, that was a big swing. Boston could have tied it. Brown will just take the 3. No real attack there over Jimmy Butler. Dragic gets Tatum switched onto him. Iguodala involving Tice in the action now. Iguodala takes the catch and shoot three. Up top, Iguodala now 3 of 3 from downtown, and it's a 7-point Miami advantage. Andre Iguodala, I think when he realizes he's being disrespected, he kind of just locks in again, and he just can't deal with it anymore. He's had some games like this for the Warriors, too. There's a tough long two, but there's Tice on the offensive glass, and he'll go to the foul line. Good job by him taking advantage of Iguodala, who did not box out.
And these are wide open, you've used the term batting practice jumpers for Iguodala. He's a reluctant shooter, but he can actually make insanely wide open shots. And Boston is giving him the easiest looks he's ever going to have. And something that we've already seen be a factor in this third quarter, when Bam is off the floor, going with Iguodala means it puts a lot on various players as from a defensive rebounding perspective, especially because they're not used to that of like find a body, box out, and let somebody else get the rebound as opposed to just being an opportunist yourself.
Back to 5 for Miami. They set a screen to set up this pick and roll. Tatum did well to get through it. Butler wants it back against Tice. Tried the back door. Tice did well to deny him. Now Butler finally has it on Tice. Takes the 3 over him. Good box out by Brown on Iguodala. Semi-transition for Boston. They want to try and get Tatum against Robinson. Instead, it's Hayward in the short mid-range. Man, Gordon Hayward. Ooh, Tice almost had his 5th foul there. Hayward really struggling in this third quarter. Iguodala feeling it. No hesitation.
He really wants to defend LeBron again in the finals.
8-point lead. You thought when Autobio went out, that could be Boston's chance. Instead, Miami extends to an 8-point advantage with Andre Iguodala. This is just no hesitation. You don't see that sort of a quick, aggressive release from 3 from him very often.
Iguodala's night so far, 5 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 from 3, plus 12 in 13 minutes, 14 points as well. Let's see. If you did the annual Top Young Guys pod tomorrow, would Tatum be top 3? Off the top of my head, yeah. I mean, I would absolutely think so. I mean, I would have Luka 1.
Well, Tatum has Tatum aged out yet? I guess he hasn't yet. Huh?
I don't think he has yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So Luka would still be 1. Who did I have as 2? Zion? Yeah, I would have Tatum above Zion. I think at this point. Now recall the last time we did it in December. He'd had like a pretty terrible first 2 months of the season.
Yeah. Tatum just turned, I think he just turned 22. Let me look that up. I had it and then I inadvertently closed the window. Tatum's 22. He'll turn 23 in March. So yes, he will be eligible.
Yeah, in fact, he'll be eligible for 2 more years.
Why does Jeremy Grant have abysmal advanced stats during the regular season and the playoffs? I think a part of it is he's generally on the floor when the opponent's best, biggest wing threats and biggest overall threats are on the floor, and then he's often off the floor when those guys are off.
It's because he didn't start most of the year, and he didn't play with Jokic. That's the biggest reason.
With Jokic, that's a good reason too.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have bad advanced stats in the playoffs, but he wasn't starting until Will Barton wasn't able to participate.
But Robbo said you can't beat shooting luck. Iguodala 4-4. That's just partially, but they're insanely open looks. Not everything is created equal, and there are a lot of times that people use a shorthand of player X is shooting, this percentage overall. You're not getting better looks than this, so it's not exactly the same. It's not apples to apples.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Miami is 10 of 23 from 3, 41%, and Boston is 12 out of 28, 43%. So you can't really point to the shooting luck. Now, Miami has shot it well on 2-point jumpers, which Boston has not really. So you could maybe point to that a little bit.
Some of those Butler contested twos, for example.
Yeah, Miami's gotten to the foul line more. I think that, and I mean, Boston has just smoked some easy shots. Like, that's not that Hayward missed layup. I wouldn't consider that shooting luck. I would consider that smoking a layup. That's entirely within your control.
Any word on casting games for the next regular season? No, not yet. I mean, I think that there will be, there's a lot of evaluation that needs to happen between now and then. But we love the experience, and it would be awesome to get to do it again.
Well, yeah, the official league pass. I mean, we'll do
Yes.
something in some fashion for sure.
Spo should give Haslam like 20-second stints in all these games to bump up his playoff appearances.
All right, Grant Williams getting his first look here now. He tried to post up on Iguodala. Now it's Tatum against Hero. A lot of help being shown. Wanamaker back to Tatum. He's got to create tough fading three, way off. Williams tries for the rebound, but he stepped out of bounds. This could be Miami ball.
Yeah, I thought they might have called a foul there, but I think that was just him getting out of bounds.
So presumably with Wanamaker in, it's going to be switching everything now for the Celtics. That is indeed what they're doing. Butler has the size advantage on Wanamaker. Crowder coming in to involve Walker. Here's a deep three from Robinson. Ooh, man, they've dodged some bullets here. Walker off the screen away. Tries the drive. Lays it up. What a finish. And that's going to be there now for Boston without a traditional rim protector in the game for Miami. And Bam is going to head back in after that layup. Still switching everything here now. Robinson. Now it's Butler. He wants the screen to engage Kemba Walker. Hero popping out with these long two. Catch and shoot two from the free throw line off a pick and roll for Tyler Hero.
And Hayward tried to help off Hero unperturbed.
Nice pass along the baseline. No, maybe not.
Bounce out of bounds.
Yeah, it hit the baseline. Boston.
I think Wanamaker's like, what happened? It's like, your pass went out of bounds, buddy. It hit the baseline. I mean, it looked pretty clear to me.
And let's see what's going to happen here. Maybe they're going to go with this best five group, although Autobio is going to come back in now. So
you kind of lost the time for it.
It does have a little bit of a field now that it's starting to unravel for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I've been thinking that for about the last 4 or 5 minutes.
And maybe we'll look back on this and say that was ridiculous, and they come back. But now Bam is being guarded by Tatum. Hero. Now it's Dragic. Gonna try Walker. Gets to the left hand. Cut off. Almost traveled. Missed the jumper. Good defense by the Celtics. The switching is working, I think, Danny.
I agree. Miami's getting tougher looks, or having tougher looks the last few minutes.
So Tatum, completely wrong-footed Hero, but then couldn't control it. It hit off of his foot, actually. The initial ruling was that Tatum just lost it. But yes, it did, in fact, hit his foot.
I think that hit Tatum, that hit Hero and then Tatum, but I guess they're not reviewing it. They didn't see the second hit.
Walker on the drive against Hero. Tried to get him in the air. Great defense from Hero. Now he has to do it again. Walker stepping back to his right. Oh, great footwork from Kemba. They desperately needed that three. Back to 5. Here's Autobio against Grant Williams. Hero switched onto nicely by Williams. Gets past him. Left-handed pass. Deflected. Here's Dragic. Blows by Smart for the layup. And now Williams fell onto Smart. Hopefully they're both okay.
And originally that was a great close by Marcus Smart. It looked like Dragic was going to have an open three, but then the recovery kind of gave Dragic an angle driving to his right.
Here's Smart. Takes the three. That's off. Williams keeping it alive. Brown with the layup. Grant Williams is doing some good things here, I would say, Danny.
I would agree.
Smart on Dragic, forcing him away from the screen. They switch Walker onto him. Dragic missed the layup. Boston a transition chance now. Walker looking to push it. Brown, He goes right through Crowder, lays it in, and one.
Yeah, making one at the expense of his most frequent antagonist in this series, and that's a bad foul for me from Jay Crowder, just because that worked a couple of times on Tatum, so I think Crowder's gotten a little more embarrassing, or got a little more aggressive with it, and instead now you don't really affect the shot, you miss it, and you give him an easy end one.
See, I actually put that one on Bam Adebayo. He's got to get back faster.
Yeah, but I mean, if Jay Crowder gives up a less direct drive, then Bam's back in time.
3-point game now, Danny. Make it a 2-point game after the end one. Big sequence here at the end of the quarter. They try to get it to Dragic, denied, and taken away by Smart. He goes in for the jam, and Boston has tied it. He just took it away from Hero, and Tatum started that by denying his initial pass, and then Smart was able to take away from Hero. They'll switch this one. Iguodala trying to post up Autobio, fronted well by Smart. The switching is really working right now. Here's Dragic trying Hayward, sneaking along the baseline. He beat him to the left hand. Did not get the 2-for-1, however. Heat back in the 2-3 off the make. See Autobio avoiding the defensive 3 seconds. He's going to wait to get into the lane until they attack. They get it to Tatum. Screen set. Corner 3 is open for Hayward. Man, he just can't buy it. Now Dragic has a chance here. Gets through. He's not going to get it off, though.
Oh, he waited way too... He thought... Did he think he had an extra 2 seconds there? He
Yeah.
had to pull up 3. That would have been... wouldn't have been an amazing look, but at least it would have counted. So 88-86 in favor of the Miami Heat. Still around a 120 offensive rating for both of these teams. But one of the interesting things, and this happened in Game 5 as well, Boston turnover problems early that have really toned down late. Both teams only have 8 for the game. That's part of why these offenses have been so efficient. Miami, 23 assists on 33 made field goals. Boston, 20 assists on an identical 33 made field goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway from that third quarter, other than Boston getting back into contact, is just the struggles of Gordon Hayward. Missed a layup, missed a wide open corner 3 against the zone, got beat on that last play by Dragic on the baseline, and just has not looked comfortable. Only has 1 assist, 3 of 10, 8 points. Has hit 2 threes, which I kind of barely even remember. I guess those were in the first half. Let's hit some questions as we go into the fourth quarter.
Oh, thank you. Somebody said they ruled it a kickball. I don't know that Hero really kicked it. I'd have to think back to it, but that makes sense for the ruling because it did hit. It did hit again. Should more teams look for role players in the early? Tyson Wanamaker look like great finds. Yeah, I mean Boston. One of the best things that Danny Ainge has done over the last couple of years is consistently find contributions from EuroLeague players, and another huge benefit of some of those guys, and I think we're going to see this with Wanamaker and Tice over the next couple of years, is you find them late, but because of the NBA's messed up CBA, those players are restricted free agents at 28, 29. And so Boston basically gets control of them for their entire prime. So I think there probably are more good players, and props to Danny Ainge for finding it. Would you trust Hayward in the closing 5 tonight? Yeah, I would. I mean, he has been shaky in this game overall, but I generally lean towards how a player is playing beyond just a few moments here. And Hayward makes good decisions. His defense is usually pretty solid. So yeah, I would trust him. That might be wrong, but that's the way I think is more on the large. I'm pretty far from, let's say, Michael Malone on this, who rely or Nate McMillan, who's who got you there on that specific day.
Yeah, it's interesting. The switching is working well. I think they need to stick with that until Miami starts beating it, and Grant Williams is really their best guy to do that with.
Oh, so that's a somewhat interesting wrinkle. You and I have talked about the Hayward for Gobert idea. I think that would be bad for the Celtics, but this wrinkle is Hayward and Tice for Gobert and Royce O'Neal. So that gives Boston another wing option who's on team control for a while. And O'Neal's not perfect, but I think he would help the Celtics.
Yeah, you would imagine Tice would have to be in that deal, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so yeah, the idea here was Hayward and Tice for Gobert and Royce.
I mean,
O'Neal.
they could really go crazy and get back to both Ennis Cantor and Gordon Hayward returning to Utah.
Oh yeah, two favorite sons for various different reasons. Going back there. From Dan Saldir, why do all numbers guys agree that single game plus minus is a bad stat and then proceed to use it? I mean, it's descriptive. What you have to it's not that player is good or bad because of it, but it is still something that happened, and we're back to live action, even though the broadcast only partially knows that.
Yeah, Miami missed a shot. I can't tell you exactly how, but they did. Here's Tatum one-on-one against Bam. Walker into the middle against Hero. Oh, he faked him out of his shoes and hits a beautiful shot. Kyle Lowry-esque on that move. Boston has tied it again. Grant Williams remains on the floor as they go into this switching system once more, trying to post up Butler on Walker, and Tatum gets a great hand on it. Butler had position on the block, but good pressure from Tatum. What if you're Eric Spoelstra here now? If this remains close, who are you going to close with? Would you go with Iguodala and Bam at the same time? Butler, Dragic, and Hero? Would that be your group?
Yes, I would go with Iguodala over Crowder in that. Yeah.
Bam trying Grant Williams. Hands off. No, intercepted by Brown. He'll go in for the dunk, and Boston leads. Uh-oh.
Is he hurt?
Oh, no. What happened to him? Oh, this is a big problem. They just give up a dunk to tie the game. Oh, no. Butler just hit his leg behind him. They're going to get a timeout. That's a really weak play by Butler. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but and Jaylen Brown is very upset. Watch this. Jimmy Butler just clips his leg from behind.
Yeah.
Ooh, and
that's the second time Jaylen Brown has been hurt on a transition on a somewhat dirty play.
Yeah, it was the groin, and this one looks worse. He landed on that left knee with it straight with his whole weight. So that's not good at all. So that would obviously be a massive issue if he can't continue.
And this is also why the refs need to have the latitude to be able to review a play if it's after and they missed it. Like it is ridiculous that now there is nothing that can be done, even if they like. I'm not saying something necessarily should have been there. It's a really hard situation.
Yeah, I mean that one. I think he just he kind of left his leg back a little bit. Like Butler was just continuing to run in a straight line.
But I'm saying broadly speaking, like just
sure.
Because the play, like basically the other team gets the ball and moves on, and then it's just over.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that I didn't think that Butler was trying to do something dirty once I saw the replay. But certainly it was a foul at a minimum.
Yeah.
So hopefully Braun is okay. I mean, he definitely did something there. Like that, like when you land with your legs straight like that and your whole weight, especially unexpectedly, that's not good. And Tim Bontemps saying it looks like Jaylen Brown is going to stay in the game. Remember, he toughed it out in Game 7 against the Raptors quite a bit as well with that groin, but ended up being fine, and he's been just as explosive as ever in the series. We thought that could be a storyline, and it wasn't. So the hope is that this isn't going to be something that's going to affect him too badly.
How do you feel about a Boston lineup of Brown, Hayward, Tatum, Ojale, and Robert Williams then playing his own? Playing Ojale and then having his own is a challenge because then you basically lose some of Ojale's benefit as a man-to-man defender, and then you have to have him in offensively. I would probably go with a different lineup if that's what they're going with, unless there's a specific identity within the zone that Ojale is going to man. I don't think there really is.
Yeah, the whole point of Ojale is to be able to switch.
When people are saying like he's staying in the game, but like we have to see what staying in the game means there. Like, how is he limited? What kind of effects do we have?
Yeah, and if you've ever played basketball and you've gotten hurt, like you don't know how injured you are when something first happens, right? Like you just got to try and walk it off and see a lot of times.
I thought when I saw the first replay, I thought Brown might have hurt his right knee, but it does seem like it was his left.
Yeah, so he's still in. Let's see how he's moving. He's on the weak side now. Smart on the drive, knocked away from behind, but it goes off of Bam Adebayo with 12 to shoot. Yeah, you can see him working it out on the sideline. To get it into Smart. Smart with the short, weird jumper. I mean, some of the shots against these zones are just not shots. I'm guessing Marcus Smart doesn't practice that one too much, but shows you the skill level of these guys. Brown seems to be moving okay defensively. Butler curling into the lane. Bam actually missed him that time. Now Smart switching on to Butler underneath. Good denial by Brown on Hero. Bam gets it stripped by Williams. Saved by Tatum. No, in fact, it'll be still Miami ball. They ruled that he never controlled it, so 2.5 remaining on the shot clock.
Yep, and that's absolutely the right call.
Yeah, Tatum with the right foot clearly on the end line there. Boston trying to communicate here. They don't go to the 2-3 on the baseline out of bounds. Iguodala is back in. I think they're going to try and get Hero coming to the near side on this one. That's what they do. They lob it into Butler. Smart stops him. Butler gets it, and they're going to say no. A loose ball foul called on Jimmy Butler over the back of Smart. Remember, it was Smart who was called for the loose ball foul in a very similar situation with Butler in the first half. And yeah, I think that's the right call.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, originally there wasn't much contact, but then once the ball got loose, there was a lot of contact on Butler, and he wasn't the one in position. And now that looks like another foul on Jimmy Butler.
Yes, it is. So Boston's starting to exert a little bit here, and Miami, they're playing late into the clock. They have not been able to get good shots against this switching, and we saw the Celtics go to more switching with Tice early in game number 5, but we haven't seen them do it with Grant Williams other than game 2 when we thought they should do it more. They did it at the start of the fourth quarter, and then they never went back to it.
And remarkably, no member of the Miami Heat has more than 2 fouls in this game. They have a lot of guys with 2, but nobody with more. So, I mean, foul trouble, it would take a lot for somebody to get there. Whereas we've already mentioned it a bunch of times, Brown and Tice have 4 for Boston, and nobody else for them has more than 2.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the minutes here. Tatum, 35 minutes as he makes that free throw. Brown has 31, and a lot of guys for Miami, too. Autobio, Butler, Crowder, and Dragic all over 30 minutes already here.
With 10 to go.
Here's Butler on the drive, goes into Williams. Williams with the stop. Recovered by the Celtics. They're going to push it up. Here's Walker. Eluding Hero for the 3. That misses, though.
How did this camera get worse?
There's 2 of them. One is low and one is high. Butler. They never actually get the switch there. Brown eating up the space on Hero. Bothers him. Takes it away. Brown against Butler again. Goes in on him and lays it in a little more conservatively. 6-point Boston lead now, Danny. And once more, that's another pick 6 that Hero has given up. And Miami just can't get anything against this Boston switching, and they got to stick with that, I would imagine.
And this is a 10 to 2 start of the fourth quarter, but really, yeah, you can go back even to the end of the third. Miami was having some real trouble offensively. Iguodala hit the 3 to put them up 79-72. And then since then, they've only scored 11 points, and Boston has scored 24.
Yeah, it's now 22-8 since Grant Williams checked into the game for the Celtics. And John Schumann noting that's 4 turnovers for the Heat on their last 8 possessions. and 3 of the 4 have been pick sixes.
What are the downsides of playing Grant Williams? I'm sure missing something, but he always seems like he should be getting more minutes. He fouls a ton. He's a very limited shooter. Now, he's not as bad, Williams, as he was in the regular season. He's more of like a screener, and he makes good decisions as a passer, but he's not like unbelievable there. But really, I think fouling and then limited offense are the 2 biggest things.
Absolutely.
Find it hilarious that Boston run happened exactly after it was getting away from them. Yeah, it happens. And I mean, the other big part of that was it was going to start on the defensive end, getting turnovers. Like, Boston's half-court offense has been better, but being able to not have to rely on it every single possession has been absolutely huge for them.
Yeah, we talked about which team could put more pressure on the rim here in the second half, and it's mostly been Boston, but mostly really as a result of those pick sixes. Both teams made 7 shots at the rim in the first half. Boston now is 14-20, Heat 11-16.
What can the Heat do to attack Boston's man-to-man defense? I mean, so this is part of why I picked Boston in 7 in this series originally. Is I don't think Miami has great people to attack it. I think that you want to do some activity off ball, try to force them to make some mistakes. But like the idea of a switching defense is to try to turn an opponent into one-on-one creators. But then the thing that Miami's already doing is attack the weakest point. So go after whoever's in foul trouble, go after Kemba Walker because of that and other purposes. And wherever you have like a strength or a speed advantage. And I think Miami's doing an okay job of that. They just don't have amazing personnel. Probably Dragic, I think, is your best guy in these lineups.
Two things I'd say. One is I would like more Autobio to get going against a smaller player and backing down. And I also would get Duncan Robinson back into the game. He had a nice start when they were switching at the beginning of Game 5, and he just moves so much that he can cause some miscommunications, and in a way that even Hero doesn't do for them. So those would be my 2 prescriptions here.
Let's see.
All right, we're back here. Yeah, Hero. I mean, I also think Robinson, has just been better than Hero in this game. Hero has not been that great. And if he's going to turn the ball over leading to layups, that's a particular issue. Yeah, 10-2 here for the Celtics, and they now lead it. See what Spo's got here out of the timeout. Butler going to try smart one-on-one. Not really an advantage matchup. Late in the clock. Backing down. Turns left shoulder. Fake into Smart, and Smart commits the foul with 1.1 left on the shot clock. That's one of those ones, Danny, where maybe they should have gone to double team, realizing that he didn't have time to make a pass.
Yeah, I agree, and I think teams don't. It can be hard in the moment you're focusing on your own guy. You don't necessarily know how much time is left, but I think there is an opening there for teams to go to that more often, and we're reaching a decision point for both of these coaches about who do you want to have on the floor, and a lot of your own system stuff depends on who you have on the floor, and so now it's interestingly Duncan Robinson and Hero playing together. Though I think Dragic is probably their best switch breaker.
1 out of 2 for Butler, and it's a 5-point advantage. Heat go back to the zone with Iguodala and Butler up top. There's Smart open in the corner. He'll take the corner 3. That misses. Brown skies over Hero for the rebound. Then he gets stripped by Iguodala. And they're going to get a kick ball here on who? On the Heat. That one somewhat lucky for Boston. They're trying to get this guy in behind the zone. Here's a 3 from Walker. That misses. Grant Williams tried for the rebound, couldn't get it. See if Miami can get a little transition here to juice their offense. Butler against Walker on the drive. Picked up by Williams. Now Autobio has the size advantage. He gives it up. Robinson on the drive. Good help from Walker, but that leaves Hero wide open for a 3. They needed that one desperately. And it's now a 2-point game.
Yeah, and you could see the activity of Robinson and Hero creating a look for that Boston couldn't recover to.
Smart into the mid-range. Easy pull-up. Missed that. Boston starting to miss shots now. They've had some chances here. They're getting good looks still against the zone. They just haven't dropped the last few possessions. They're hiding Walker on Iguodala to start these possessions. Hero pulls over Smart, and he's tied it at 96. Smart played it a little more conservatively because he thought he might have to switch onto Autobio and get inside of him. Here's Brown, another mid-ranger, another miss. Robinson on the rebound. Boston getting okay, but not unbelievable looks right now and missing them. Split cut action for Hero. Now he fakes the handoff with Bam. Robinson switched onto by Williams. They miss Bam on the roll. Here's Hero. Can he make it 3 in a row? He's going to have to late in the clock. Tough fader over Smart. That misses. Good no call. Now Boston transition. Here's Tatum into the lane. Has to loop it back out. Kemba. Pass fake. Over Iguodala. And Iguodala called for a foul, which this will shock you, Danny. He doesn't agree with it, but he got him on the right arm.
And I thought Kemba was going to kick that immediately out to Jason Tatum for the corner 3, but he drives and ends up getting the foul, so he'll take 2 shots here. And assuming the box score is accurate, that is 2 fouls for Miami and 0 for Boston in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's always important against Miami because we know what they do getting free throws, particularly late in games with Dragic and Butler. So Walker a chance to break the 96-all deadlock, and he does with that first free throw. Grant Williams has been awesome here. The switching has been really good. But can Brad Stevens stay with him for 15 straight minutes?
With the amount of stoppages they're going to get late in this game, I think he can if he wants to.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tice is already in.
Yeah, let's see if they stick with the switching now or they go back to a conventional pick-and-roll defense. Missed free throw from Walker, so it's a 1-point game. Autobio just going to go right at Tice. Oh, he goes right by him.
And that was what you talked about, is Bam being an isolation man-to-man breaker as well. And
I think he's their best. There. I think he's their best isolation player. Miami back to a 1-point lead. Tatum, pull up 3-pointer, right back. Beautiful make off the back rim and down. And Boston, an adjustment they made in the previous game was setting the screens against the 2-3 higher on the floor. Now Autobio going at Tice again. Rims it in and 1. 5th foul on Tice. Yeah, Tice landed on his foot. What an adjustment from the Heat. And if I'm Brad Stevens, I'm putting Grant Williams right back in this game. Yeah, Tice could have got called for the foul with the left arm before he even released the shot. Then he gets him on the elbow here again, and then he gets his foot underneath him too. So he fouled him 3 times on one play.
Well, and I think on those driving dunks, they don't call nearly enough defensive fouls. Like that's been talked about a few different places. Like Tice fouled Bam twice on that dunk.
Miami back up 1. Walker, Tatum, can he make it 2 in a row? No, short. Bam gonna do it again. Help comes from Walker. Underneath, Butler, layup. 3 baskets in a row. That's 7 points on 3 possessions. Bam isolating off the dribble against Tice. Swinging around, Tatum, pass fake. Drives around Autobio. That's the type of finish he needs. 1-point game. This is just shaping up like an absolute barber. They got to get the ball out of Autobio's hands here. He's just going right at him again. And this time, is that a foul? That'll do it for Tice. The left hand again, I think he got him.
And so that means whether Stevens wanted to or not, Grant Williams is probably coming back in this game.
Yeah, he was at the table. Yeah, there it is, that left hand to Tice. Clear foul. I mean, that's amazing. Like this stretch of putting Tice back in may cost them the game, and amazing credit to Miami for, and who knows, they might have tried to do that against Grant Williams too. I'm sure they're going to go back to it now anyway. Missed free throw, though, for Autobio. But, I mean, we may look back at this as a stretch of 8 points in 4 possessions, all with just Autobio going one-on-one. And they got shooting around him with Robinson and Hero in the game. Bam does hit the second free throw. 2-point advantage. So Miami has solved the switching for the time being. We'll see if Williams can fare better against Bam. No advantage gained on that initial pick and roll. Here's Tatum. Has Smart on the pick and pop. Smart on the drive. Finds Walker. His catch and shoot is off. Brown trying to keep it alive, but he can't. Let's see. Bam bringing it up. Williams trying to pressure him here. Yeah, much different. And, they're going to get a timeout here by Eric Spoelstra with... This is his use it or lose it one with Miami up 2. Boston still has had a few chances.
Yeah, they absolutely had. That was a fascinating sequence. Miami right now, their overall shot chart is fascinating. They've taken 18 shots at the rim, 13 floaters, and 14 mid-rangers. Boston, a little bit more rim-focused, but not that much. 23, then 13 floaters and 10 mid-rangers. And so both Miami's 8 of 14 from that mid-ranging. Butler early and a couple of different guys late. That's been really important for them.
Yeah, this is now a career high for Autobio with 30 points.
People are talking about the best white American NBA player currently in the NBA.
Let's see here. We're going to be back here in a second, actually, it looks like, with just that short timeout. Yeah, getting a little bit of a break for Autobio. This is 34 minutes for him. Boston starting off here again in their man-to-man. They get it to Autobio at the elbow. They try to get the backdoor on Iguodala, and it's going to be a non-shooting foul. Nice little play there to take advantage of Iguodala's size against Walker.
But that is Kemba Walker's 5th foul.
Yeah, with Jaylen Brown potentially a little limited after that knee thing. Tice has fouled out. Clear foul there, of course, on Walker. Love that play call, by the way. Williams trying to pressure on Bam so he can't get going. Butler was open back door. Bam missed him. Williams stepping out on Robinson. Big 3 goes down, and you could see that Williams was just a little bit reticent to leave Bam Adebayo, and that's the next step here. Now, here's the oop for Brown, broken up by Robinson. Big play there. Miami could push it to a 3-possession advantage. Hero attacking on Smart, into the lane, layup good!
And Tyler Hero, for whatever reason, has Marcus Smart's number to a degree. There were a couple times earlier in the series where he baited Hero into drilling shots, and I don't know if it's something about the rhythm, but Hero's done a good job on Marcus Smart.
I agree with you. Well, Smart went for the steal that time, and that's why he got by him. That could have actually been a foul as well. So this is now a 7-point Miami advantage with 4:30 to go. The next step for Miami in the half court is going to be Bam getting the switch onto a smaller player and then attacking just like he did on Tice if they want to go that route. Because it does seem like Williams does a pretty good job of getting into his body.
Let's see. What is Tyler Hero's ceiling? I think he can be the second best player on a second best offensive player on a very good offense. I think he'd be a capable defensive player. So that's probably like the second or third, probably the third best player on the title team. And he might be that as soon as I mean, this year or soon after that. But I don't think like I mean, it's hard to say when a guy's just 20. But when I watch Hero, I don't think of him as like the best offensive player on a really good offense. Like that, I don't. He has some on-ball game, but I don't think he has that much. Like that's a really rarefied error.
Yeah, I would largely agree with that assessment. All right, so we're going to be back here. Boston desperately needing a score. Miami has been scoring on pretty much every possession lately. I think that's like 8 of 9 possessions they've scored on now. So it's slipping away. Grant Williams is now on the bench. Are they going with their best 5? Yes, they are doing that. But let's see if that will hold up defensively. Tatum's pass gets deflected. Brown along the baseline. Back out Tatum. Iguodala, great closeout. 3 from Walker. Man, Walker has had his open looks, just hasn't been able to hit. Now Miami with a bucket here could really put them into difficulty. Good denial by Smart on Butler. They go the opposite side. They want to get the ball to Autobio against Jaylen Brown. Brown squirts around to intercept. Here's Iguodala leaving it for Butler, and a blocking foul is called. So this will be free throws for Iguodala on the pass-off, but they're in the bonus.
Yeah, and that's the correct call. Marcus Smart was not in position. He kept on moving to meet Iguodala.
And
that's why the charge shouldn't exist, at least in its current form.
It's been a throwback performance from Andre Iguodala, although he is usually an adventurer at the foul line in these situations. Makes the first one, though.
Though I'm remembering those insanely big free throws that he hit. That was at the end of the greatest regular season game of all time, right? The one where Kevin Durant fouled him late.
That's right, yeah.
And so for those who don't know, that's the double bang Steph Curry in overtime Mike Breen call. That's the game we're talking about. We did a whole podcast on it once.
Here's Jaylen Brown swinging around. Walker, Tatum, eluding Iguodala. Big 3. That misses again. Boston has just gone so cold from 3 here down the end.
Yeah, it was a 10-2 run to start the quarter, and it's been 22-6 since then.
And Hero attacking again, and just no help really there for Boston. That's the downside of this group. Hero just goes right through Kemba Walker in transition. Smart, he'll take a 3. No passes here for Boston. They just cannot hit a three-pointer.
We're in perfect game territory for Boston. That's what it's going to take. I mean, it's probably about 6 possessions. They're down 10.
Butler on the drive. He's going to be fouled, and a technical foul is called on Butler. Oh, maybe they're going to say he got him with the knee, raising the knee here. Or there was some kind of a shove after the play.
This might be a time for you to turn on audio and try to hear it.
Well, first I'm going to turn the stats off.
That's a good call.
Yeah, so Smart looks to be okay. Got hit in the face, though, and the technical foul, this, is something here. But he might need to actually make that, and Boston just completely combusting offensively. I mean, I guess Butler just said something to him?
Or to the ref?
Oh, the elbow after, the flop elbow after the strip. The Kobe Bryant on Manu Ginobili call. Yeah.
Oof, and then Smart hit the stanchion pretty hard head first.
But Butler did get fouled, and with the missed technical free throw, this is just about done here now. The first of 15 times I plan to say that in the next 3 minutes.
Well, it's better than when we said it in the third. Though it ended up going that direction.
Yeah, 12-point lead now, and Boston has about 6 possessions left to make that up. Brown will just gun the 3 immediately. That misses. These are actually not terrible looks, and Smart just gets stopped by Autobio. No call. Didn't deserve one. But clearly the desperation creeping in now for Boston from an offensive perspective. Bam against Hayward. Huge advantage. Gonna take his time. Good defense from Brown to come over. Bam, leaving it for Butler, and we're done here. The Miami Heat are gonna go to their, what is this? This will be their sixth NBA Finals. Walker loses it. Hero, he leaves it for Butler. Butler traveled, or a jump ball. Yeah, that's the right call.
Well, you'll remember this better. Is this going to be the first finals where how many finals have the Heat not been the favorites? They were the favorites in all 4 LeBron.
No, I don't think they were the favorites in 2014.
In 14?
Yeah.
I mean, they got their butts kicked, so they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I mean, San Antonio had home court advantage. The Heat really struggled against the Pacers team that was pretty flawed.
That's true. But I'm trying to. I was thinking more to the Wade Shaq finals. I wasn't a fan of the league.
Yeah, they were not favored in that one either.
Okay, so then this will But what a run for Miami! I mean, they've only in the Eastern Conference playoffs they will have only lost 3 games, correct?
4. No, you're right. 3. Yeah.
3 because they swept the Pacers. Yes, that's incredible. And it's not like they faced weak opposition. I mean, of a top 4 team, if you consider the Ben Simmons injury, I think you can make an argument that the Pacers. Do you think the Pacers were the strongest of the bottom 4 in the East? I mean, who else would it be?
It might have still been Philly.
We'll see. But then they faced the Bucks, and then they faced the Celtics. So I mean, incredible to face that opposition and just run through them. And there were a lot of close games in the series, and this was a hard fought one that could have gone the other way. But Miami, incredible performance by them throughout the East playoffs.
Yeah, Boston led it 96-90, and another 3-pointer from Robinson. And this has been a ridiculous last 6 minutes offensively for Miami, and Boston has just been bricking threes left and right. Brown will try Autobio. He'll lay it in. All meaningless now.
And so the finals will start on Wednesday. So a couple days off for each of these teams. I'm guessing the Lakers probably would have wanted a Game 7 here, so then they could have been off until Friday.
Yeah, here's Autobio working into the mid-range. Misses that. Butler kicks it out. Hayward looks like he hurt an ankle or something. 3 from Brown from way out. I mean, how many quick threes have they taken? And this will be a loose ball falling smart. So I think we're done here, Danny. Let's pack it in, go record, and NBA Finals Game 1. It's to be Wednesday. We'll talk to y'all then.